I'm not going to preach on the gospel. Not because it's hard to figure out what the good news is. But all week long I've been taken by the words and the text of Psalm 90. The front of your bulletin puts it right in front of you. Everlasting to everlasting, you are God. Before the mountains were formed. This psalm is the only psalm in the entire book of Psalms, the only one of 150 psalms that is indicated that this is for Moses. The only time Moses is attributed a psalm is number 90. As we talk about the psalm a little bit, we can make our own decision about, so how come Moses? Does Moses get accreditation here because he lived so long ago and it reminds us that God is from all eternity, long before we lived and long after we died? Is that why Moses is named here? We might as well face it. Annie Tyler is an American author, and she has written a book, and it's called All New People. And the beginning of her book states the fact that 100 years from today, whenever today is, basically, it's going to be all new people sitting in these pews. Basically, that's the truth, isn't it? Basically, this psalm wants to remind us that we only have a really short span of time. It says 70 if we're lucky, and then if we're super strong, maybe we'll get 80 years. And as we remember Greg Curran in our prayers today, we'll remember some don't get even 70 years. Abraham Lincoln liked this psalm. In the old translation, in the King James Version, it's that poetic language, you know, that you just kind of get hooked on if you like it, or else you think it's really just out there and stupid. I like it. 80, if we're lucky. We have 70, King James says. And if we're really strong, we get 80. How did Abraham Lincoln begin his Gettysburg Address? 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth. Lincoln was taken with the passing of time, and as he was delivering this address, we remember that he's standing on the graves of all those young men who never would see 80 years, much less 80, or some of us now 50. Abraham Lincoln grabbed onto this text as a way of saying, let's remember, we are inside of an incredible span of history. It's not all happening today. I invite you to take a minute. Close your eyes and tell us. Imagine children you know, grandchildren you know, their children, their grandchildren sitting in these same pews. 100 years from now, yes, even less than that. It's amazing. You know, it's maybe my favorite part about the Bible. It's just flat out honest. Forces us to say things we don't want to say. In our society, it's not very popular to even use the word die. You have to say, pass away. We're really afraid to say someone died. Well, when I die, I hope they say it that way. She died. She's lived her life. That isn't denying what's beyond here. It's simply saying, for now, This person's life is complete. We could focus a lot on time because that's what Psalm 90 does. Days and months and years and morning and evening and span of life. What time is it? How much time do we have? I think about it a lot driving from Hollandale to here. What time is it? What time is it? Look at my clock, 9:21. I'm never going to get there because I'm still in Hollandale. What time is it? What time is it in your life? What time is it in your life? What time is it in the church? Inside of the church year, next Sunday is New Year's Eve. The end of the church year happens next Sunday because then by November 30th we're starting the year all over again with Advent. The reason these texts that you heard this morning are all talking about end times is because at this time of the year in the church we remember that Jesus has died, Jesus has risen, and Jesus will come again. So that's what all our texts are focusing. So inside of that passage of time, morning and evenings and days and months and hours, it's how you and I live, but it's not how God lives. The psalm wants to contrast God's permanence. The kids at Hollandale Sunday School saying, Father Abraham had many something or other. Many what? Sons. I'm one of them, so are you. And then the right leg and the left leg and all that stuff, and they were up there. So when I talked with the children, I said, how long do you think how long ago did Father Abraham live? Well, they thought maybe 100 years. So we were kind of settling on 1914, you know. But this psalm wants to remind us, before the mountains were formed, God has been, and God will be, when all new people are sitting in these pews, and you and I will be gone. And it wants to assure us that as we come to places in life that are hard to face, people have been there before. And the God in whom we live and move and have our being is the same God of Abraham and Isaac and Moses, and all the names of the little ones that you imagined a few minutes ago. That's basically what the psalm wants to say. And inside of there, the psalm comes up with this lovely verse. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. Can you take that home with you? So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Luncheville and Hollandale have entered into a new marriage. As of 2015, we are one congregation with one another. What was it like when you first got married? Did you have some surprises? Some good surprises? Some, oh really? I didn't know this. We have entered into an agreement that says we are one congregation. That's the time it is in the history of these people, of you, of Hollandale. Now we're together in a way that we weren't together before. What's it going to look like? Who's going to take care of us? Who's our dwelling place? Who is going to keep us safe through all the stuff that's coming up? Because we don't know what it is. One of the things I want to talk to the council about on Wednesday night and Tuesday night at Hollandale. What's the best time for worship? I don't want to run so hard within 20 minutes as I have done these 2 Sundays. I don't want to leave the people at Hollandale without a chance to get to know them. Literally, I leave before the last hymn, and they finish up, and Sandy does the announcements, and then they do their dismissal, and I just race out the door and ask them to pray for me. Seriously, you can ask them. So what's the best time? And what are we doing with all of our time? Wednesday night, Blanchardville has your council meeting. You have a voice. As members of this congregation, you have a voice. If you're not elected to the council, you don't get to vote on the decisions they make. But you do get to say, you know what? This is how it seems to me. So think and pray hard about at least one of those pieces that we're going to talk about Wednesday night. What's a good time? Now we have 2 individual worship times to consider. Who should be early? Who should be late? And let's give the pastor a little more running time, especially in the winter. So that's not outside of the province of this song. Isaac Watts lived in England and was a member of the Church of England in the late 1600s, early 1700s. Isaac Watts was a poet, and he was not sturdy of body. But one day when he came home from worship on a Sunday morning, the tradition at that time was that you sing the psalms, because that's what the psalms are. They're songs. They're not meant to be spoken. So ancient church, and even some churches now, have recovered this wonderful tradition of singing the psalms. Anyway, Isaac came home and said to his dad, "That's really bad music for those words. It's really hard to sing that. I don't like that music. I don't like the way it's set." And his father says, "Isaac, then make it better. Then fix it." So Isaac did. 16-year-old kid, he started taking the Psalms and making melodies that made sense. Melodies and words that were singable, so that the song will carry with us more easily. You know the song Joy to the World? That's Isaac Watts' setting of Psalm 98. Oh God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. Those are Isaac's words as he looked at the first couple verses of Psalm 90. Oh Lord, you've been our refuge through all generations. You've been our dwelling place. God, our help. 1,000 ages in your sight are like an evening gone, short as the watch that ends the night before the rising sun. This hymn is valuable to us, and we thank Isaac Watts for being honest enough to say that's not very singable. We'll fix it. So as we look forward to our work together, I invite you to come Wednesday night to the council meeting. Everything we're doing is transparent. We have no secrets from each other. And as you know what is best in your opinion, that opinion matters. And so we invite you to come, listen to the deliberations, hear what the councils are struggling with, because this road ahead of us is totally unknown. What we know is that God is with us, and God is not going to leave us or abandon us.